The Solomon Islands is grappling with the catastrophic aftermath of Severe Tropical Cyclone Maila, a record-breaking storm that reached Category 5 intensity before beginning its slow, destructive trek across the archipelago toward Papua New Guinea. As of Saturday morning, the National Emergency Operations Center, NEOC, has confirmed widespread destruction across the Western, Choiseul, and Isabel provinces. While the system has been downgraded to a Category 3 as it moves southwest, authorities warn that the danger is far from over due to life-threatening storm surges and persistent gale force winds. TC Maila intensified with alarming speed in early April, fueled by unusually warm sea surface temperatures. By midweek, it had reached Category 5 status, the highest level on the Australian Tropical Cyclone Intensity Scale, with sustained winds of 215 kilometers per hour and gusts exceeding 280 kilometers per hour. Meteorologists noted that Maila's rapid intensification represents one of the most powerful climatic events recorded in the region during the month of April. The impact has been most severe in the northern and western regions of the Solomon Islands. In Gizo, the provincial capital, the scene is one of chaos. Reports indicate that the roofs of several commercial buildings and government offices were ripped off at the height of the storm. Coastal villages in Sasamunga witnessed a massive storm surge on Friday morning, which reportedly inundated homes and destroyed critical food gardens. These provinces bore the initial brunt of the Category 5 winds. Preliminary aerial surveys show significant damage to infrastructure, including schools and rural health clinics. Communication lines remain intermittent, making it difficult for disaster officials to get a full picture of the casualties. While the capital escaped the eye of the storm, heavy rainfall has caused localized flooding and disruptions to the power grid, hampering coordination efforts at the National Disaster Management Office, NDMO. Amidst the devastation, there have been stories of survival. Several groups of people previously reported missing at sea, including a group of fishermen in the Western Province, and residents from Wagina, have been located alive. Search and rescue teams, supported by local communities, continue to scour coastal areas for any remaining missing persons. The international community has moved quickly to support the Solomon Islands government. The Royal New Zealand Air Force deployed a P-8A Poseidon Maritime Patrol aircraft to conduct damage assessment overflights. These images are crucial for identifying the most isolated communities in need of immediate food and water. Humanitarian supplies, including emergency shelter kits and water purification tablets, are being readied for shipment from Brisbane and Suva as soon as weather conditions allow for safe landing at local airstrips. The NDMO estimates that nearly 73,000 people have been affected by the cyclone. Currently, over 120 people are housed in formal evacuation centers, but thousands more are staying with relatives after their homes were rendered uninhabitable. The destruction of food gardens, the primary source of livelihood for most villagers, poses a long-term threat of food insecurity. TC Maila is currently moving into the Milne Bay region of Papua New Guinea, threatening remote islands such as Woodlark and Budi Budi. Residents in these areas have been placed on high alert. For the Solomon Islands, the focus now shifts from survival to recovery. The road ahead is long, said a spokesperson for the Solomon Islands government. Our priority is restoring communication and ensuring that clean water and medical supplies reach our brothers and sisters in the Western and Choiseul Provinces. The passage of Cyclone Maila has dealt a severe blow to the Solomon Islands economy, particularly in the agricultural and fisheries sectors, which sustain the majority of the population. Preliminary assessments indicate that nearly 70% of subsistence gardens in the Western and Choiseul Provinces have been destroyed. Staple crops such as cassava, taro, and sweet potatoes have been washed away or rotted due to saltwater inundation. This creates an immediate food security crisis and a long-term loss of income for local farmers. The artisanal fishing industry, a cornerstone of the coastal economy, has suffered immensely. Numerous motorized canoes and fishing gear were lost or damaged. Furthermore, the destruction of jetties and storage facilities in Gizo and Sasamunga has paralyzed the supply chain, preventing fresh catch from reaching markets. The Western Province, known for its world-class diving and ecotourism, faces a significant downturn. Several premier resorts reported structural damage to overwater bungalows and dive centers. The loss of tourism revenue during the recovery phase will put further strain on provincial budgets. Meanwhile, after lingering in the Solomon Sea for days, Tropical Cyclone Maila has left a wave of destruction in its wake. Villages in Solomon Islands, PNG and Bougainville have reported flooding, storm surges, and major damage to infrastructure. Authorities in PNG have major concerns for two small islands in the country's southeast, with the eye of Maila set to pass directly over them. Roads and buildings have been destroyed across multiple Pacific islands as slow-moving tropical cyclone Maila heads towards Papua New Guinea, with the eye of the storm set to cross over two remote islands early tomorrow. The storm, now a Category 3, is moving west at about 7 kilometers an hour, with winds of about 200 kilometers per hour at its center. It has left a wave of destruction in its wake across the Pacific region, with coastal communities in Solomon Islands, Bougainville, and PNG reporting widespread damage this week. Buildings in Solomon Islands' Western Province, the heart of its tourist precinct, have been destroyed, and many villages are reporting severe flooding as the storm, which has lingered in the Solomon Sea for most of the week and at one point reached Category 5, caused huge waves and storm surges. In Bougainville, roads have disappeared as heavy rains hit, causing rivers to swell and landslides across multiple areas. 2 deaths have so far been reported in PNG. As the cyclone moves slowly west, authorities in PNG say they are worried for the islands of Woodlark, in the southwest province of Milne Bay, and the low-lying island of Budi Budi, which has a population of a couple of hundred. The eye of the cyclone is due to hit those 2 islands early tomorrow morning. I am concerned for the people on Budi Budi. They are so isolated. Barry Kirby, who heads charity The Hands of Rescue, told the ABC. It's possible that the whole island will become flooded, and I'm concerned for loss of life. Dr. Kirby, who lives in the Milne Bay capital of Alotau, said Woodlark Island, which has a population of about 7,000, has a functioning airstrip and a medical clinic. He said he was less worried about Woodlark as it had higher ground for residents to protect themselves. But he said market gardens that both communities rely on to survive will be destroyed, and he was preparing to fly out food hampers once the storm passes. But this is only a starter pack. It's a long way out there, over water, to get out there and come back, he said. Logistically, it's a borderline operation for us, and we'll need to get medicine out there as there's going to be injured and sick people out there. The principal of Budi Budi Primary School, Egnios Sinodi, told the ABC he was extremely concerned about people on the island. Mr. Sinodi traveled to the PNG mainland last week and has been unable to return home due to rough weather. He has not been able to communicate with his wife and 2 children because there is no mobile or telephone coverage on Budi Budi. I'm not worried about the school, but I'm worried about the people, he said. Siondi said the island was completely flat and there was no high ground for people to seek shelter in the event of high tides and flooding. The only way to survive is to find a boat or canoe where they can be able to survive on the water, he said. Tropical cyclone Maila has been downgraded for the 2nd time on Friday, now as a Category 2 system, with wind gusts to 155 kilometers per hour. It is now expected to make landfall in far north Queensland early next week. After days stalled in the Solomon Sea, the storm picked up speed Thursday morning, but was then downgraded from a Category 4 to a Category 3 system on Friday morning. The Bureau of Meteorology, BOM, said the exact trajectory of Maila was still unclear, but modeling suggested it would cross the Queensland coast north of Cooktown, around the Coen and Lockhart River region, early next week. Maila is situated between Papua New Guinea and the Solomon Islands and is expected to pass Papua New Guinea on the weekend. BOM senior forecaster Shane Kennedy said Maila had been a real tease. It should weaken as it interacts with the land around Papua New Guinea and it crosses over some islands, Mr. Kennedy said. Mr. Kennedy said it was predicted Maila would weaken by the time it approached the far north Queensland coast next week. Senior meteorologist Angus Hines said Maila's pattern was very different to Severe Tropical Cyclone Narelle, which crossed Cape York Peninsula on March 20th. He said Narelle had clear and obvious steering forces that made predicting the route and timing more certain. Maila has been stuck in place for 4 or 5 days and the driving forces have been very weak, he said. As Maila tracks more than 800 kilometers east of Port Moresby, BOM predicts the system will most likely make landfall around Coen and Lockhart River on Cape York Peninsula. Lockhart River Mayor Wayne Butcher said the community, 530 kilometers northwest of Cairns, was still recovering from Cyclone Narelle. Councillor Butcher urged residents to make sure everything was secure around their homes. We've got to tie up the wheelie bins a bit more this time. A fair few went flying last time, he said. But the critical thing is removing any loose sheets of iron or anything the wind can pick up and clearing debris around the community. The local disaster management group is due to meet on Friday. Councillor Butcher said a top priority was ensuring there was enough food and fuel for the power station, airport, and his community of 640 residents. He said the Pasco and Wenlock rivers remained saturated, and further heavy rain could lead to more isolation. The rivers are still way up, so we can't drive out of the community at the moment, he said. Council Chief Executive David Clark said some residents living along the Pasco River were still cooking on campfires after record flooding from Cyclone Narelle damaged their homes.